I talked a lot of shit about chart patterns. And you must be thinking, so if that's not the answer, then what is the answer? You are going to get the answer in this particular lecture. In this lecture, we are going to be talking about strength and momentum. How to read the strength and the momentum of the price. And that's all that you need to know. Because in the candlesticks, we understood that what you need to understand is the imbalance of power. Now, just because there's an imbalance doesn't necessarily mean it is true. Doesn't necessarily mean that it is absolute. Because at that particular moment, the sellers could be looking weak. But what if the sellers were not active at all? That automatically makes the buyers look extremely strong, right? So in this lecture, we're going to understand how to read strength and momentum, understand and learn strength and momentum analysis. Now, once again, if you're a complete beginner, this is going to take you a little bit of practice. In fact, a lot of practice to master this. But once you learn strength and momentum analysis, you will become a master at reading charts. Let's get to the charts. So let's try to understand first, what do I mean by strength and what do I mean by momentum? So let's say we've got a green candle. Okay, we've got a green candle right here. I hope by now you know how to read candlesticks. So there are two green candles. One candle looks like this and one looks like this. What is the difference between these two candles? If your answer was not the wicks, then I am concerned and you should watch the candlestick lecture again. But if your answer was the wicks, yes, the wicks are different, but that's not the point. The point is, what does this tell you? This tells you that the price opened up over here, went down, then went all the way up here and then closed here. Yes, this might be a green candle. You might look at an imbalance of power in the favor of the buyers. But this is not a very strong bullish candle. This is not a very strong green candle compared to this one. What happened here? The price opened here and the price came till here and directly closed there. So this second candle tells us that what happened was when the price opened up, the buyers were in control right from the moment the candle opened up, and they were still in control right from the moment the candle closed. There was no wicks, there's no ups and downs. The buyers were very clear, we have to drive the price high. So now if you want to place a buy side trade, in which scenario would you be more comfortable? You would be absolutely comfortable here, because here you can clearly see that the strength of the buyers is clearly visible, right? Now let's put it to the test. Let's try and understand the strength of the buyers in real time. All right guys, so let's do one thing. Let's compare these two candles right here. Since they are back to back right after each other, it will also be easier for us to compare both of them. Now, analyze these two candles very carefully. What is the first candle telling us? The first candle says that the price opened up here, went below, the sellers drove the price lower, and then the sellers were weak, so the buyers took the price higher and closed it here. Is the candle bullish? Absolutely. Does the candle express imbalance of power in the favor of buyers? Absolutely. Now let's talk about this particular candle. Candle opened up here, straight went till here and closed here. So you tell me which candle in this example is more strong. I did not say more bullish, I asked more strong. The strength of the second candle is much higher, because this shows you that yes, the price is bullish, but the buyers are in control. Because we don't want to be buying or selling a trade just because one other party is inactive, because this is possible, right? This is possible. If there are two players in the game, one player just decides not to play, the other player will automatically look extremely strong, will automatically look the best in the game. But that might not necessarily be true. And that's exactly why we need to understand that, okay, price might be going up, but is it going up with strength? Is it going up with momentum? That is what we need to understand. So this was a bullish example. Let's take a bearish example, guys. Let's take this example. So let's take these two candles right here. Ignore the green candle here in the middle. Ignore the green candle. So what happened exactly here? So the price opened up here, went up a little bit, went down, then went back a little bit up and then closed here. Is the candle red? Yes. Now, tricky question. Is this candle bearish or bullish? Take 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. If it took you more than 3 seconds, once again, you need to go and watch the imbalance of the power section. Don't skip through this course. You are going to be wasting your money. This candle is not even bearish. It's a bullish candle. Let's talk about this particular candle. What happened exactly here? So the price opened here. Price went up. Sellers were strong enough to drive it back down. And till the end of the candle, till the candle closed, the sellers were in control. This shows that this candle is much stronger and much bearish compared to this particular candle, right? So this is what you should look at when you are analyzing strength, when you are analyzing. Now let's try to understand and let's try to analyze the strength of a major structure. Okay, so let's look at this move right here. So okay, I want you to focus only on this part. So guys, what do you see over here? You might look and you might see that the price is going down. There are red candles, there are bearish candles. But once again, I have a question for you. Is this downside move strong enough? I don't think so, because if you carefully look, there are lower wicks on most of the bearish candles. What does the lower wick signify? This signifies that the sellers are trying their best to push the prices lower, but the buyers are pushing them back up again. So this shows that yes, the price might be going down, but it's not going down with strength. And this is what tells you that the trend is not strong enough. The price movement is not strong enough. Now, strength analysis alone is not enough for you to understand whether you should get into a trade or whether you should call it a good enough structure or a good enough chart. And that's exactly why momentum exists. Let's talk about momentum. Now, I hope you understood that strength means to understand who is more in control, because just understanding bearishness and bullishness is not enough for you to read the prices properly. You also need to understand the strength. Now, the strength is justified by the amount of control the buyer or the seller has over that particular period of time, which you have already understood. Now, let's talk about momentum. Momentum is basically the size of the candle, the distance traveled, the change in the price. So now let's talk about momentum. So I want to take an example. So let's say over here 3563 Ethereum dropped till 3515. That is, let's assume that is around $45. Let's assume that's $40 for a better calculation. Then from here, once again 3564, Ethereum dropped to 3503. That's around $60. Now, my question is, the amount of difference in price is pretty much the same, but which move had more momentum? Obviously, the second example, right? Why did it have more momentum? Because the same amount of move happened in a lesser amount of time and the candles were extremely huge. So guys, this also shows you that the sellers are in control, plus they are driving the price with momentum. This is what you want to see. This is what you want to read when you're looking and analyzing a particular trend. This is what you should see, because okay, you might have a downtrend like this, the price might be coming down, but if it does not have strength and momentum, the price can anytime just go back up. You might be trapped. It might just be a trap. Let's take this example. In fact, look at this uptrend. The price is going up, right? Do you see any strength and momentum in this entire uptrend? This entire move that the market has made, do you see any strength and momentum? Absolutely not. And you look what happened. The price eventually came down. Because guys, like I said, if there are two players in the game, one player just decides to sit on the sidelines for 5 minutes, that doesn't make the other player the better player, right? And that's exactly why we need to understand, because what if sellers just decide, oh, for the next 1 hour, I'm not going to play the game. The buyers will automatically look strong, but that does not make the buyers strong, guys. And that's exactly why we need to understand the strength and momentum analysis. So once again, look at this particular downside move. Extreme strength, extreme momentum, really good move. So this is how you read the strength and momentum. And whenever you see strength and momentum, that is a good sign. That is a good way to just understand and just read the charts. Because without strength and momentum analysis, your candlestick patterns are useless. Your chart patterns are useless. All of that is useless if you're not utilizing the strength and momentum analysis. Because a pattern could form. What if it is not strong? What if it is not forming with momentum? You have absolutely no idea. And that's exactly why you need to know how to read strength and momentum. Once again, a beautiful example of momentum right here. Price is constantly going down. Large wide range candles. So basically, a very simple sign of strength, just to simplify the entire lecture for you guys, a simple sign of strength is basically strong candle closings that shows that the buyer or the seller is under control. A very good sign of momentum is wide range candles, candles that are normally wider than usual, candles that are bigger than usual, and you'll understand this with experience, you'll understand this with the chart. So there's no specific chart size of the candle. Just by looking at it with your naked eyes, you'll understand. So if you look at here in this entire move, the candles were relatively small, which eventually makes these candles very large, right? So relatively larger candle, wide ranged candle is an indication of momentum. And this is how, ladies and gentlemen, you understand strength and momentum of any chart.